Brought to you by GTA. We start with you.
I say this with cautious optimism. From February to present, we have zero documented cases of our guys being positive. We know that there could be a plethora of factors that contributed to our overall zero positives. Our guys, our personnel could just be getting better at doing what they're doing. Our exposures could be down, or it could be that our wellness policy is working. Nonetheless, we'll take that zero.
Battalion Chief and Infection Control Officer Ed Chaco says that GFD is taking the necessary measures to stay that way. And one of these measures includes checking in with personnel.
I do wellness checks and we assess for a condition called pandemic fatigue. I can assure you when I look into our members' eyes that we still see vigor. We know we still have a lot of fight left in us, and we're poised to finish this.
Since the onset of the pandemic, they have tested 216 GFD personnel, some multiple times for either being symptomatic, identified as a household contact, or due to work exposure from a COVID-positive person. To date, there have been a total of 17 personnel who have tested positive. Now, to help streamline with the testing process, members from the Guam Fire Station and commanders receive training on swabbing and utilizing the Abbott ID Now, which allows them COVID testing capability. In regards to the breakdown of COVID numbers as of March of this year, there have been 3,327 COVID-related calls for GFD units since March of last year. 1,457 COVID-related calls that were picked up by their transport units, and 622 COVID-positive patients transported by GFD ambulances or COVID units.
The COVID units have been very instrumental during this COVID era. We're planning to keep them in our fleet for as long as we're in emergency declaration. Unfortunately, the transport unit, the COVID transport unit at PD, had to be taken offline, and that was primarily due to manpower.
Although it has been over a year since the pandemic started and almost half of the adult population on the island is vaccinated, it is far from over, as we've seen with the recent COVID clusters. And if there's anything Chaco has learned, is that they need to be flexible in this ever-evolving virus.
Being able to adapt and change is key. Once the personnel know what they're up against, and they know what they have to do to push forward, we'll be good. And this is difficult because members of the fire department, they're all alphas, and they question everything. But in this particular instance, they were very receptive and very attentive to the changes and the training that we had.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonah Charvris.